With Elden Ring just around the corner and hype at an all-time high, I've been playing through a ton of FromSoft games trying to keep my eyes away from the copious amounts of leaks and data mined content. From the 2009 release of Demon's Souls, the series has come a long way. It's been really interesting revisiting the past games and seeing all the ways in which those earlier ideas have been improved upon and reimagined. From the weapon upgrade system being simplified in Dark Souls 3, to games like Bloodborne and Sekiro, which took the framework created by Dark Souls in completely new creative directions. Jumping from Dark Souls to Bloodborne isn't too difficult. I mean, just dodging and hitting the R1 button can get you pretty far in both games, but I've always found the jump from either of those two games to Sekiro to be incredibly difficult. Despite feeling right at home with all the other games, Sekiro plays very differently. The countless hours of executing dodge rolls and chugging Estus with the face buttons that once carried me now became a detriment. I'm sure it's perfectly possible to complete Sekiro without ever deflecting a single blow, but that would be a less than ideal way to play the game. Sekiro tries its damn hardest to beat the Dark Souls muscle memory out of you and replace it with the rhythmic dance created by its deflection-based combat. After all, Sekiro isn't Dark Souls. Although people tend to group all of these games under the Souls-like umbrella, it's still its own unique game, so it only makes sense to approach it differently. So, what will the jump be like going into Elden Ring? Before getting into that, I'd like to point out that this video is a follow-up to my last one, so I'd highly recommend watching that one first. I'll link it in this video and put it down in the description as well. Throughout the promotional material and the open network test, we've been able to see a number of ways in which Elden Ring's combat differentiates itself from Dark Souls. Casting magic is now much faster, and the spells more powerful. You have more tools to help you deal with large mobs of enemies, such as spirit summons. The addition of a mount brings an entirely new dimension to combat. Bosses have a hidden posture bar that is more easily broken by R2 attacks rather than just mashing the R1 button. Blocking, with swords and shields alike, are strongly incentivized with the introduction of guard counters, a mechanic which allows you to execute a powerful counterattack after a successful block, jumping attacks, jumping iframes, ashes of war, and of course, your standard R1s and dodge roll are still here. So, with all of these new features, what's the right way to play Elden Ring? To answer that, I want to first look at a video relevant to this topic. YouTuber HBomberGuy has a video titled Bloodborne is Genius and Here's Why, and in it he praises Bloodborne's innovative reinterpretation of Souls combat. He opens by posing a question.
Is it possible to play a game wrong? I think this is genuinely difficult to answer. People are going to have different experiences no matter what, and not everyone has to like something. But part of me also feels that there are right and wrong ways to approach a game. But what does that mean for people who want to make good criticism and attempt to analyze the rights and wrongs of game design if the results are going to be so subjective anyway? Does game design even matter if you can create the greatest game ever, but some people will just play it wrong and have a bad time? And there is a right way to play the Souls games. You can hide behind the shield a lot, die over and over trying to memorize every encounter, or use magic from a distance to avoid having to engage with the game, or wear the heaviest armor and hope that'll save you. But the reality is, it's just more fun playing it as someone who dodges, who weaves, who parries, and who uses situational awareness to assess a situation and maybe get out of it the first time without so much trial or error.
I don't disagree with him on the most fun way to play Dark Souls. Ever since I put down my shield partway through my first playthrough and began exclusively dodging and parrying, I never went back. But I'd be hesitant to call this the right way to play the game. It's how him and I and many others found the most enjoyment playing Dark Souls, but it's impossible to create an objective metric for measuring fun. It's not for me, but those other playstyles exist for different types of players. If those resources weren't meant to be used, why would they be included in the final game? Like, do you think the devs put in the countless man-hours designing defensive and ranged options just to fuck with players? He then talks about how Bloodborne fixes this problem.
I have a hypothesis about this game. Bloodborne teaches you how to enjoy Souls games. Let me show you just a couple of the design differences that seem small, but have a massive, massive difference on the mindset of players. Firstly, the most obvious one. There's no shield. Where is it? It's not there! This isn't how these games work! You don't start the game with a shield at all, no matter what. This is genius. This is...
Let's take a look at From Software's next release. Oh.
No shield means no one is safe. You have to dodge, and your offhand weapon is now a gun whose sole use, unless you spec your character a specific way, is for parrying. Parry, or dodge, or die. No easy, boring path at all. You now have no choice but to play the game the fun way. Welcome to the fun zone. I can't believe it. Like, can you imagine being in the room when Hidetaka Miyazaki was looking at playtest footage of the previous games and coming up with the concept for Bloodborne, and he was like, hey, take out the shields. Like, what? Nani? Hidetaka? How will people defend themselves? By learning to play the game in a way that's actually fun, mate.
I never said that shit. Bro, who the fuck told you I said that shit?
What level of genius does a man have to be operating on to be able to go, okay, I've thought about it, and by removing a key aspect of our game series, we're going to vastly improve the experience, not just of this game, but of all the previous ones, because people will go back and play them that way and have a fucking great time! The developers of Bloodborne didn't blame players for playing it badly, they blamed the game, and then they fixed it.
I like HBomberGuy's content, but I think he really shit the bed with this video. What he's describing as the correct way to play the Souls games is actually just everything that makes Bloodborne its own unique IP. They didn't remove shields from the game to fix Dark Souls. They removed shields because it wasn't conducive to the kind of gameplay FromSoft wanted for Bloodborne. The inclusion of shields would do nothing for the frenetic, high-octane action that Bloodborne was trying to go for. There's a reason why they named it Bloodborne and not Dark Souls 3. That's a different game that came out a year later and basically debunks every point that HBomberGuy was trying to make. If Miyazaki took a step in the right direction and fixed Dark Souls with Bloodborne, why would he take a step backwards with Dark Souls 3? Weapons were no longer streamlined, builds were more varied, magic is still an option, and shields came back in spades. And with Elden Ring, this freedom of playstyle has only increased. The changes From Software makes with each new IP is a great reminder that we should judge these games on their own merit. Elden Ring is not Dark Souls 4. It's the culmination of everything FromSoft has made up to this point, of the experience and know-how they've acquired over the years, of all of the ideas explored in previous titles that couldn't be fully realized. So don't approach the game trying to play it like Dark Souls. Don't go into it expecting Bloodborne 2, and don't tie your expectations to your experience with Sekiro. Elden Ring marks the start of a new era for the franchise. The Age of Fire has come to an end, and we must now enter a new domain. The lands between. The world, while familiar, brings an abundance of new elements for players to experience. So instead of worrying about any right way to play the game, take the time to explore and experiment with absolutely everything it has to offer. I know that's what I'll be doing. And that's the video. If you watched to the end, thank you for watching. Like, comment, unsubscribe, all that good stuff. Currently, I only have one other upload, but I will be uploading more when I'm not no-lifing on Elden Ring, so stick around to see more of that, and see you in the next one.